Barbarian is definitely one of my favorite heroes in DD2 to play, mainly because of its crowd control it can put out. The Barbarian is a hack and slash hero, if you know by now. He puts out like an enormous amount of crowd control as well. It's called like the Frost Shock build, where he does the electrocute combo, but also he does the freeze combo, which is water and ice. I'm gonna show you basically the setup that I've been using for it. It's the new era setup. Ever since C9 was released, we have like rings and all that stuff. So we had like the Ring of Regen, which basically changed the meta of the Barbarian. But before I jump into it, I want to thank Artie and Jade for all the information about it. This is basically Artie's build. The only difference is I use water chip and he uses oil. Oil chip is much more effective on Barbarian than the water chip is. It makes you do 25% more damage. I just can't convince myself to use it because I really like the 100% chance to freeze enemies. With the oil chip, that means you have to use Drenching Strikes, and the ice chip, which only has I think a 38% chance to freeze an enemy, which based on the swing speed, it procs very often, but I just cannot convince myself to make the change. So I would advise you to try out both and see which one you like. But yeah, definitely the oil makes you do 25% more damage, and it is really good. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. So the Barbarian is very simple. All the gear is basically the same. This is a more expensive version of it. You can do what I call a Walmart version of it, which will be a lot cheaper. Now this full setup is around like 400 mil for every single mod to buy them. Now that's very expensive. I don't want that to turn anybody off of it. You could basically re-roll a lot of these and it'll be fine. You can also use 9s instead of 10s and you'll be completely fine. It would be just as good. Well, it would be a little bit worse, but it would be still very good. But yeah, so the mods I use are going to be damage buff, healthy power, and tenacity. Now healthy power I'm going to be swapping out with swap damage. I just don't have a set of it yet, so I'm just using healthy power for now. Swap damage is definitely more efficient to use, and you're probably thinking, I don't want to swap my hero every 30 seconds, so I don't want to use it. Trust me, you're going to want to use it. Swap damage stacks, so the 30-second timer stacks per piece of gear you have. So if you're rocking 4 pieces of gear, then that would be 2 minutes of swap time, and I guarantee you your waves are not going to last 2 minutes. And if they do, it only takes 5 seconds to swap. It's fine, just do the swap. It's worth it. Definitely it's worth it. But yeah, so swap damage is definitely better than healthy power, but I just don't have them right now, so I'm just not using them. But yeah, they're about 2 mil mod, super cheap. You want your tenacity on all 4 pieces. They're about 8 to 10 mil mod. You definitely want that because that would be a direct counter to assassins. You want 10 out of 10, so you get the full resistance to negative status effects and all that stuff. Yeah, so you make sure to all see it as well. But that will basically be a counter to assassins, so you never gotta deal with assassins ever again. The only difference would be the body. On the body you have snake skin, so you want to go with tenacity, of course. And the second one, either damage buff, or if you don't want to put out the money for damage buff, you can always use light chip. It's significantly less damage, but it's definitely about 19 mil less money. So you could go with light chip. It'd be perfectly fine. I used light chip for the longest time. It was good. It was solid. Turn of the Tides would still be doing a ton of damage for you because it doesn't go off of what your hero damage is. So you'll be fine. But you can either use damage buff on your body, or you can swap it out with swap damage or light chip. Swap damage will be better than light chip, but it's completely up to you. Depends on what your bank account tells you can have. As far as the pet, you go Automeow, Dragolich. Dragolich would be my recommendation for you because you can't go wrong with Dragolich. I use Automeow because I think it looks cute, I guess. I probably should edit that out because that's just embarrassing. But anyway, so the weapons you want your primary weapon to be light. It could be any cosmetic. Doesn't matter what it looks like, as long as it's light, and the little clock next to where it says light needs to be as close to 20% as you can. That would be your swing speed. So if it's only around like 18, 19, that's fine. You kind of want it 18 or above. Higher the better, of course, but you definitely want it to be light, because whatever you have in your primary slot is going to be your swing speed for your secondary slot. So if I have a heavy weapon here and a light weapon here, the heavy weapon will be swinging just as fast as the light weapon, because you could probably just imagine your Barbarian swinging the light weapon at supersonic speeds and then the heavy weapon at like snail speed. It would just look weird. It would just be, yeah, I'm so glad they did that. It would just be really weird. So yeah, but that's the mod you want to kind of rock out on it. Ice chip, focus power, melee chip. You want your antis on there, because when turn the tides procs, which I'm going to explain how that procs in a second, it also takes your anti mods into effect with it. So they have a direct effect on the damage that your turn of tides will be doing. Focus power, because it's a DPS setup, so you want to make sure you have your focus power. You're probably like, oh, Barbarian only has 2 things that can go on cooldown, and they're kind of annoying to use. I understand that, but that's not true, because technically there's 3 things, because if you didn't know, you can use your pet. Your pet going on cooldown procs focus power, and your pet going on cooldown is really nothing. So it's just like you just hit it once and you wait 45 seconds, you got that buff for 45 seconds, you're good. So there's no reason not to have focus power on it. It just acts like another anti. Yeah, but then the ice chip, of course, ice chip is going to be there to proc your freeze effect. So ice mix in with water or a drench, which water drenches, turns things to ice. So that brings us to our other weapon, where I have water, turn tides, and controller. Controller for the same reason I had melee. It's just an anti. Use it. You're constantly going to be crowd controlling enemies when you're attacking them, either through shock or through frost, from freezing them. So that's going to be constantly procking. So you're solid. Just use that and you're good. That also procs with the turn the tides as well. So when the turn the tides procs, it adds in an extra 55% damage to crowd controlled enemies, which everything's going to be crowd control. I promise you that. Water chip, like I said at the very beginning, you can swap that out for oil. You only need water chip. I use it. Oil will definitely be best in slot for you. But try out water, try out oil. Let me know which one works best for you. If you don't use water chip, you want to make sure you have drenching strikes as a shard. I don't have it as a shard because obviously I have it as a mod. But yeah, keep that in mind, you'll be good. As far as the shards go, you have Worm Scarf, Echo and Shout, draining strikes for your helmet. For your gloves, Critical Strike, Ride the Lightning, Reckless. This will all be for DPS here. This would be more for tanking. These 2 will be for survivability. So Echo and Shout basically just increases your shout duration, which would in return count for more DPS, because Shout debuffs everything in front of you. Draining Strikes just make sure you won't die. Boots, you already know what these things do. Bunny Hop, you get your double jump on your Barbarian. I don't know how I could use Barbarian without double jump. It's just awesome to use. The extra movement speed as well with it. Speed boots or speed boost. More speed, Zephyr's Warpath. More speed for the Whirlwind ability, which Whirlwind is going to be the way that you get from one side of the map to another side super quickly. So that's always good. More speed is always good. When it comes down to the body, you have your Taser Suit, Bulwark, and Power Gambit. Power Gambit for damage, Bulwark for a tank, and Taser Suit just for more crowd control. So that's just going to electrocute basically everything around you when you take damage. When it comes down to your swords, you're going to have Burning Strikes and Lightning Touch. Venomous Strikes you could sub out for drenching if you use oil on your weapon. You could sub this out with drenching. But if you do use water chip, you can go with the Venomous Strikes. It just adds more DPS to your setup. Other one has Thunder and Blow, which lowers the resistance of enemies by 24%, which is always good. Anti-air, that's mainly for assassins, but it also works very nicely with like Dargons that are kind of like around the core, just any type of air enemy. It works very nicely with them. Pumpkinator, you'll probably think, oh, this isn't an AP build, so why use Pumpkinator when it procs based on AP? Well, Pumpkinator also has when you pumpkin an enemy and you hit it with a melee attack afterwards, it gains your crit chance by 39% for 5 seconds, which Turn the Tides also can crit. So it can not crit and it can crit. So if you gain your chance of critting by 39%, that just makes Turn the Tides even more powerful at the end of the day. So you can't go without Pumpkinator. You need it. And plus, nothing's better than looking at a little goblin with a big pumpkin on his head. This is the cutest thing ever. I love it. As far as the ring goes, Ring of Regen, it gives you more health. Same thing with your Snake Skin, gives you more health. So you kind of want both of those. Because the more health you have, the more health you can gain, which means Turn the Tides will hit higher. Just makes sense. As far as Ascension go, now it's kind of hard to tell you exactly what to do with it because I have all this Ascension. So I will go with movement speed, then these two right here for your crit chance and crit damage, and then go with your health, your Barbarian health. Then after that, you can go with your damage. But make sure you just go in that order and you'll be solid over here. For this one, you want to go with your Wrath capacity and your Fury capacity. That's basically your mana. So you want to go with those two. And then you want to go with your Lightning Stance. After Lightning Stance, these three don't really matter at all. I mean, after that, I guess you could go with your Whirlwind Wrath. And then these two, but these really don't matter. It's basically just your capacities, and then go with your Lightning Stance. And then on this side, obviously your Fury capacity, and then after that, you want to go with your Siphon Stance, which would just make it drain less. And then these three kind of don't matter. I mean, you can go with your Turtle Stance next or whatever, but these three really don't matter. As long as you have these two and this and this, and then this goes in this order, you'll be fine. Your damage don't really matter much for this side. Your health matters more than your damage because the higher health you have, the more likely it is for you to regain more health. So then your Turn the Tides will just proc more. But yeah, that's basically it for that. I can show you real quick Turn the Tides and how it works. And I have a Frostbite here just because I want to show you what it looks like when it actually procs the different antis. I can't show you the anti-melee procking because dummies don't count as melee enemies, but I can show you the controller part of it. So real quick, I'm gonna show you the damage I can do. We should be doing around like 35. Now you see it jump up like that. When it jumps up like that, that is just the Turn the Tides proccing. So you're gonna see big damage buffs every 5 seconds. So you see I come around I would say 35-36 mil. That's only with one cooldown and without the shout debuff. But I'm gonna show you the Turn the Tides proc real quick. So let's let these guys cool down. Alright, so if you look at the left dummy, you will see the Turn the Tides proccing. You see the big number. Give it a second. There you go, 74.8 mil crit. Let's see if we can find a non-crit. 49.8 mil non-crit. That kind of worked out perfect. Now I'm gonna put down the Frostbite to get that controller back. Get that controller proccing. So let's do this again. See what we get. Hang on. Boom, 72.4 mil non-crit. Let's see a crit now. 77 non-crit. Well, give us a crit. 115.9 mil crit. So you can see Turn the Tides, and that's AoE by the way. So that will proc in a radius around you. You can see how far away that is from me. So you can see the radius of Turn the Tides and how far it can actually hit. Like it would nuke an entire horde of enemies very quickly. But that's going to be it for me for the Barbarian build. You go the cheap way, go the expensive way. The cheap way is going to run you about 100 mil altogether. The more expensive way about 200 to 220 mil. So it's pretty pricey. But if I missed anything in this video or you have any questions about anything, feel free to ask me. I will answer it as soon as I can. You can also hit me up on Discord. Or you can check me out on Twitch at HarambeDD2. Twitch.tv/HarambeDD2. But yeah, that's going to be it for me for today. And I will see you next time.